Welcome. Thank you for joining me as we prepare for the Jewish New Year with this soul accounting. I am Joshua Lesser, the rabbi of Congregation Beit Chaverim in Atlanta, Georgia. As we continue with the theme of love of community and the world, I of course thought about Tikkun Olam, world repair, and tzedakah, just giving. It's really important to reflect upon the ways that we want to be helpful and thoughtful in the world by giving back, being partners with creation, and making sure that our actions are actually effective. In thinking about this, I was mindful of a parable that was taught to me as a young child, but has always stayed with me, and it's about a boy who was wandering in the woods. And as he was looking around, he saw this leaf, and hanging from it was a chrysalis. And as he began to make his way over to the chrysalis, he saw that there was a creature inside struggling to get out. Compassionate, thoughtful, wanting to relieve what he thought was this creature's suffering, he reached into his pocket, grabbed his pocket knife, and snipped a little opening off of the chrysalis. But to his surprise, what happened was an unformed butterfly oozed its way out, trying to flap its wings and certainly unable to fly. This parable has stayed with me because it reminded me that sometimes, no matter what our hope is, our actions are not the right actions that are needed in that moment. I think that is especially true when we think about, on the larger scale of world repair, of Tikkun Olam, ways we want to be effective. As I've been doing my own reflection in ways that I contribute, I've been using a book that has been very helpful to me. And this book is called Doing Good Better by William Macaskill. And he talks about effective altruism, which I love the idea. And he uses this example of the play pump, which was this idea that got incredible traction because someone designed a water pump that was also a merry-go-round, thinking that children would play on it and that it would produce lots of water. It was such an exciting idea that a First Lady at the time and stars like Jay-Z got behind it. And hundreds of thousands of dollars went to support this program. And pumps like this began to be put all over Africa. And yet, no one stopped to ask many of these communities if they even wanted this pump. And when they began to look and do the research, what they discovered is that many of the communities didn't want these kinds of pumps in the first place. Those that did soon discovered that the children did not play on the pumps long enough to produce the amount of water that the regular pumps did in the past. And sadly, when the pumps broke, they had to hire outside groups to come in and fix them, whereas the previous pumps were able to be fixed by the people of the village. So what was sad here is that people responded to an emotional idea, thinking that it would be great, and it seemed like a smart idea. But as the book that I've been reading, Doing Good Better, teaches, we must use our head and our hearts. That if they had looked at the data, if they'd actually spoken to people, they might have learned something that could have prevented such a waste of dollar, time, and energy. And so I want you to grab your pen and pencil and think about the groups where you really dedicate a great deal of your resources, whether that be your money, your time. Write those names down and think about what are the reasons that motivate you to work with those organizations. How much do you know about them? Do they do the work that you want to be doing in the world? For instance, when I look at the groups that I participate, American Jewish World Service comes to mind because I've done a great deal of research about them, and I understand that they want to avoid issues like the play pump, and they invest in local communities and hear from local partners about what is needed and take their guidance from what's happening on the ground. For me, that's effective altruism. That's the kind of work that we're doing. And that rather than just responding for a need for us to feel so compassionate, we need to actually dedicate a little bit more time in exploring that our deeds are actually effective. Thank you. I'm Joshua Lesser from Congregation Beit Chaverim in Atlanta.